This is CBN NewsWatch.
Happy New Year and welcome to this special edition of CBN News NewsWatch. I'm Gary Lane. Today we highlight stories focusing on the mission of the gospel. We take a look at missionaries, the revitalization of the church, and explore a new museum that is promoting the history of Christian and gospel music. Let's begin our special coverage in Brazil. It's second only to the United States in sending missionaries into the world, and its approach is far from typical. Brazilian missionaries use everyday jobs and personal connection to carry their faith across borders. CBN's George Thomas shows us how this global movement is redefining what it means to serve in the mission field.
While Brazil is certainly famous for soccer, samba, and the Amazon, it's also becoming known for something else: sending missionaries. From bustling Sao Paulo to small villages half a world away, Brazilians are being called to spread the message of Jesus Christ. They include 45-year-old Daniel Silva from the city of Belo Horizonte.
I've known about missions since 2005, but I decided to answer this call in 2014.
Instead of preaching from a pulpit, Sylvia serves coffee. She opens small cafes in the Middle East and Asia, places traditionally missionaries aren't often welcome.
In addition to generating income for that nation and generating local jobs, I can build relationships with people, right? With each person who enters, in my case, a coffee shop, it's an opportunity to make friends, to strengthen relationships, and over time, share the love of Christ with others.
Silva has faced plenty of barriers, such as new languages, strange foods, and unique cultures.
In the beginning, I had a lot of difficulty communicating. I didn't know the language. The food was another shock. It was very spicy compared to what I'm used to in Brazil. I also traveled to very remote areas where there were no roads and the conditions were so tough.
What's this?
This is South Africa, Zulu, Sutus, Xhosas, Tswana, Shangani, 30 years ago. And I was young.
That was you as a missionary?
Yes, I was young. Look how the Brazilian can connect. I was the only white in the middle of this great crowd in the time of apartheid when whites and blacks couldn't talk to each other. It was forbidden by law.
Do you miss being a missionary?
I would love to go back there.
Marcelo Crivella, a well-known evangelical pastor turned politician, once served in several African nations. He says Brazil's warmth, hospitality, and cultural diversity helps his missionaries connect across borders like never before.
Here in Brazil, we are not reds, we are not white, we are not yellow, we are not black. We are Brazilians. We are a mix of everything. Then we can go and be accepted in all this country.
Each year, roughly 400,000 missionaries are deployed around the world. The United States is the #1 mission-sending country, deploying roughly about 127,000 missionaries. Brazil comes in at #2. Each year, about 38,000 Brazilians travel around the world.
Dr. Todd Johnson, a leading religion researcher at Gordon Conwell Theological Seminary, says Brazilians have a deep understanding of God's command to go into all the world and make disciples.
Brazilians have done a wide range of things, from planting churches to doing aid work of various kinds in some of the toughest places in the world. And it's really a story that probably is not known by most people.
And they're also changing how missions are done.
Brazilian churches want to grow and expand to other nations, so they realize that the traditional way of doing missions needs to be challenged and reshaped.
Breno Vietas spent 13 years serving in Mozambique and Spain. He says the old model of raising support can be tough, especially on families.
I remember being so concerned about raising funds as a missionary. We had so little, and what little we had, we shared with the Mozambican missionaries.
Now he's leading a national push for churches here to encourage missionaries to work regular jobs while also serving in ministry. The goal? Make missions smarter, more sustainable, and more effective.
I've returned to Brazil now from the field to mobilize our churches for this new vision.
No, Europe is not dead. We're just getting started.
Rebecca Teixeira is part of this new generation. With the Brazilian Foursquare Church, her family has planted congregations in Portugal for years. Now she travels across the continent, encouraging young believers to reclaim Europe for Jesus.
My heart is to empower and encourage these young leaders. If it's in Portugal, Sweden, Denmark, Germany, I don't care. A place is just a possibility to see the action of God. This is what South Americans, they really think of. Legacy, enduring, lasting legacy throughout families and generations.
In 2000, Brazil made history when 140,000 young people packed 3 stadiums for the Send, a 12-hour rally to mobilize new wave of missionaries. Nearly 2 million more joined online. One of the most powerful moments came as tens of thousands of Brazilians lifted their shoes in the air as a symbolic pledge to take the gospel to the nations.
Missions is done in the following way. It is with the hands of the ones that give, the knees of the ones that pray, and with the feet of the ones that go.
From coffee shops in Asia to churches across Europe, this new wave of Brazilian missionaries being trained to work bivocationally is blazing a path not just about passion, but about sustainability as they carry Christ to the nations. George Thomas, CBN News, Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Coming up, 2025 was considered the worst year on record for church closures. But we meet a pastor whose church is bucking this trend and hear how lowering barriers and reaching beyond walls can revitalize congregations. Stay with us. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. Welcome back to this special edition of CBN NewsWatch. 2025 was considered the worst year on record for church closures in America. As many as 15,000, many of them in rural areas, may be shutting their doors. In North Carolina, one small church is bucking this trend with a story of redemption and revival. CBN News reporter Brody Carter reports.
In towns like this across rural America, churches aren't just places of worship. They're the heartbeat of the community. But in America, that pulse is fading. Here in Gates County, North Carolina, several churches have closed their doors, but this one seems to be opening their doors much wider.
We're in a small town, dude. Right?
Everyone knows
everybody knows everybody. Right. You live in a fishbowl if you're a pastor here.
Gatesville, North Carolina. Population 250, sits just south of the Virginia line. Roughly half of its residents attend the Upper Room, an Assemblies of God church on the edge of town. A short drive through Gates County reveals a landscape of faith in transition.
Probably 5 right now that on paper are open and have closed, and there's a couple that have just literally closed and shuttered the doors.
On the outside, restored sanctuaries and shining stained glass may look like revival. Yet across parts of rural America, looks can be deceiving.
The caretaker group will care for this building. They'll keep the grass cut, and they'll make sure the roof is fixed. So it'll be an edifice. It's a museum. Just something that Jesus did generations ago.
Nationally, as many as 15,000 churches could close this year alone, with the National Council of Churches estimating 100,000 closures in the coming years. Mainline Protestant and Catholic parishes are hit the hardest.
Based upon the best data I have, 2025 may be a year when we'll see what I think will be the most churches closed in any one year.
Tom Rayner, CEO of Church Answers, has helped churches on the brink for nearly 40 years.
We at Church Answers cannot keep up with the number of consultation requests for revitalization. We can send resources, but for those who want us there at the church to look at it, we simply cannot keep up with it. That's telling me that these churches know that there's a problem more than ever.
Rayner, an early leader in church revitalization, created the Hope Initiative, a model used across denominations to restore struggling congregations. He sees 2 critical warning signs that led to this year's tidal wave of closures.
Once you see a church that has no evangelistic intentionality, no gospel centrality, along with a self-serving motive, you can pretty much be guaranteed that that church is in a decline, perhaps near death or perhaps dead. We call the category of near death moribund, M-O-R-I-B-U-N-D. And it's a weird name, but it just means really, really sick.
Inside the upper room, though, it's a different story. And the pastor's own journey serves as a testament to the renewal.
Think about this, Brody. I met Jesus in prison. So everything we call the church, I had never seen before, right? My church was in a cell block with 4 or 5 other believers and the Word of God.
In the late 90s, before Christ entered his life, Eric Earhart spent 4 years behind bars for drug distribution. That's where he says God gave him a vision to open a church.
So we ended up launching this church. I'm the founding pastor. We're 3 miles from the prison camp that I was released from.
As a church that's undergone the Acts 2 journey, an Assemblies of God revitalization model, Pastor Earhart is a prime example of what a church can do if they lean into where God is leading them.
Revitalization is predicated on lowering the barriers to entrance, that their heart becomes tender to the fact that right outside those doors, there's people who are desperate for hope. They're desperate for Christ and they've never even heard his name before.
While thousands of America's churches are closing, Pastor Earhart believes that by lowering barriers and reaching beyond his walls, faith can still transform a community, even in a town of just 250. Reporting in Gates County, North Carolina, Brody Carter, CBN News.
Still ahead, from gospel greats to modern worship favorites. A new museum celebrates the history of Christian and gospel music in America, right in the heart of Music City. Stay with us. You're watching a special edition of CBN NewsWatch. Welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. Christian music has a long and rich history, and now that history has a home where fans can experience music memories up close and personal. Ephraim Graham traveled to Nashville, to the Museum of Christian and Gospel Music.
Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day.
Nashville, Tennessee is Music City, home to the famed Ryman Auditorium, the Grand Ole Opry, Country Music Hall of Fame, and now
1, 2, 3.
the very first museum of Christian and gospel music, where every wall and case are rich with music stories, like the story of Grammy Award-winning singer Dr. Bobby Jones, who hosted one of the longest-running original series in cable television history, showcasing gospel music.
As we walk this museum, we will see your imprint and your face even on the walls. How does it feel to see this museum?
Unbelievable. It's just such a blessing to see God work in the way he has and support my thoughts and my energy and what I had tried to do for him, for the kingdom. And then to see it actuate is really amazing for me. And I love every minute of it.
So get ready for some dynamic gospel music. Gospel music's history and its future are on display here.
I want you to repeat and finish this statement for me, if you will. I fell in love with Christian and gospel music when?
I heard Mary, Mary for the first time.
Really?
Yes, Mary, Mary is a massive part of my musical upbringing. We love singing Shackles and Heaven and church. And there's a CD with a song on there called Little Girl, and I would just sing it with my friends. It was just so encouraging to us at the age we were at, you know, and just growing up in the world. And, you know, so it's just, those are my people.
Recording artist Tarian is among the many young artists whose music story is inspired by the lives that have given birth to these walls.
We're sitting in the first ever Christian and Gospel Music Museum in the city you call home now.
Yeah.
What's it feel like?
It is so surreal. You know, you work in this industry for years and you get to see these artists and see their heart for the Lord, you know, so now to have their ministries cemented here in Music City is a huge deal, you know, and I think honors the work the Lord has done in their life. And I'm just grateful to be here today.
We decided to start with Fisk Jubilee Singers.
Steve Gilreath is the museum's executive director.
I think we have the most comprehensive museum for all genres of Christian and gospel music that people will see anywhere. So we've tried to keep it interesting and just mainly try to tell great stories.
If we painted this museum's picture-perfect story by number, we're looking at many people coming together to raise nearly $15 million to build out some 11,000 square feet of exhibit space over the course of 17 months, showcasing hundreds of artists. And this is the Gospel Music Association's fourth attempt to build a museum.
It's hard to build a museum. I've been to 30 museums getting ready to run this one and create it. I've been all over the country. And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame spent a day up there with their CEO and others, and I've heard so many stories of how difficult it is, even for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Country Music Hall of Fame. So it's not unusual that we've had false starts here. The amazing part is that we got it done. We're open. Thank you, Jesus.
If you had a prayer for this going forward, what is it?
It's a prayer for connection, taking people back to the moment they met our Savior. And many, many times that happened in conjunction with music.
Oh, happy day. Let's keep saying it. Oh, happy day.
Memorable music, now with a museum to remember and keep its stories alive. Ephraim Graham, CBN News, Nashville, Tennessee.
Happy day.
To get tickets to Nashville's Museum of Christian and Gospel Music, go to cgmmuseum.org. Stay with us. We'll have more on CBN NewsWatch right after this. Kelontae Gavin is well known for songs such as Higher and No Ordinary Worship. Today, the gospel singer continues his music journey with Worship School. Ephraim Graham sat down for a one-on-one conversation with Kelontae about his life and music.
This ain't no ordinary worship.
So when we talked about music last, we were talking about ordinary worship.
Yeah.
But there's been lots of music since then.
A whole lot. And a lot on the shelf, man. I literally, I remember getting dropped from the label about 1.5 years ago. And so me getting dropped from the label, I still dabbled in music, but it allowed me to become a greater version of myself that actually now will benefit the music that I will release because it'll be real, raw, transparent, music you can feel, messages from the word, but also my life.
We belong to you.
I tried to be as relatable as possible. Guess what I got in my hand? Oh, it's my new book entitled Worship School, written by myself.
I'm seeing your name attached to something called Worship School.
Yeah.
Artist.
When we look at the life of Christ, like, right, being a worship leader is singing about Jesus, but one of the aspects or perspectives of Jesus that we don't hear about, preached or taught is the Jesus that's a carpenter, the Jesus that knows how it is to run business. And so Worship School was a community that we curated for creatives to become all that God has called them to be, not just on the stage of the platform on Sunday morning, but from Monday through Saturday, how to take the ministry and literally see it blossom into artistry. Like, yeah, speak in tongues, tell people to lift their hands, but how do you take an idea and turn it into a thriving business to become a successful songwriter, producer, worship leader who turned artist? Worship School was an answer to a problem. After you get the prophetic word that you're called to sing to the nations, where do you go? Where do you start from? You know, where do you start? That's what I say. And so for me, I was excited to release Worship School, which is a book, literally mastering the art and the heart of what worship is.
And you said you didn't always carry the heart either?
No, Ephraim. No. 26 growing up in church. And you talking about, I sing, I preach, I played, I'm a musician, singer, artist. You go viral at like 9th grade year. What? I failed 10th grade year next year and still went back to church and singing stuff.
What would you say was the biggest fall?
Ooh. Ephraim, you're so good. Man, losing me. I'm literally about to start a journey that I'm excited about, but it is excruciating mentally because I know that in finding me, I've got to lose another part of me. The adrenaline goes down after ministering to thousands. You got to go home and look at yourself in the mirror and say, do I really believe the word I just sung about? Because I don't feel it. And so for me, I had to look myself in the mirror and say, okay, I need help. I don't just need oil or a prophet or a pastor. I need a therapist.
Knowing that, what's that done to you?
Whew. Hard. Man, you're gonna make me cry. It's making me see a different side of God. Because to truly follow Christ is not really finding yourself, it's denying yourself. He said, let any man want to follow after me, let him deny himself. Take up his cross, pick it up. Pick up what? Pick up the thing that I've got to crucify myself on every day.
That's it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel anytime or online with cbnnews.com. Also, tell us what you think about the stories you've just seen by emailing newswatch@cbn.com or talk to us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter. We hope you'll join us next time. Have a great day.